Do, do. I am in fact live. The Oilers bring anyone in on defense? Do they grow from within? I think they grow from within. I think they're high on Broberg. Obviously, Bouchard's still developing. I think they probably get better from within. Same with the Wild. I don't think there's anybody that the Wild are bringing in at this point. I think it's about creating cap space, and then that cap space expands as the season goes on, and you're really worried then about, okay, so what kind of cap space are we going to have come deadline time? So Yvonne just got home, so she will be joining the live stream shortly. Will I buy all of the reverse retro? I have a hookup. So there is a hookup when it comes to the reverse retro. I'm not concerned. Last time out, it was kind of a disaster because there were such problems with finding the product. They were really short stocked. That's not going to be a problem this time, at least from what I've heard. So I'm not overly worried. And howdy. I've actually got AEW on right now. Punk wasn't even limping. Like I sell the injury. Man, he's a veteran. Sell the injury. He should have at least been limping on the way to the ring. Oh, my foot got destroyed. No, it didn't. You're walking. So anyways. Yes, good evening, everybody. Restructuring contracts of the NFL will become a thing in the NHL. No, I can't see NHL players ever going to the not guaranteed money like the NFL has. Like NFL players get paid really well, but then you get into which ones have guaranteed money and which ones don't, and there's some definite difference there. I don't think that's going to happen with NHL contracts. I can't see the players going for it. Hockey fan from Australia. Well, hello tomorrow. How's Thursday treating you? Could Kulikov to the Ducks mean the Wild are going for Kane? No, they'd need way more cap space than that. That only frees up $2 million to go for Kane. I don't even want to think about who they'd have to trade out in order to go for Kane. I don't think that's going to happen. Least favorite Canucks player and why it's Jan Bulis. It wouldn't be Jan Bulis, not for all time. Man, who would have made me yell at the TV the most? Would have been Dixon Ward way back in the day. Robert Nordmark. Yeah. And then there's the personal, just some of them, their personalities ticked me off, which wouldn't have been Nordmark or Bulis or any of those guys.
Hello.
Canes should be first in the division. I agree with the channel vote that Canes are probably the best team in the division. Although the Rangers are going to be right there with them.
To a power rankings for your cat.
I did that once. I did do that on the other channel. I uploaded a video to the Entertainment Guy of the kittens fighting in the box.
The big Herkin box.
Yeah.
That was a stupidly huge box.
Yeah, it's just a 3-minute video of them fighting in the big box. It was funny.
Why do so many people still think the Isles are a contender? Our offense group is atrocious.
I don't know about contender. I think there's a lot of people that think they'll bounce back, which means making the playoffs. I think they could make the playoffs. That being said, they have to get off to that better start. The start they had this past season, you had the huge road trip and then the disastrous homestand while you had so many players on the COVID list. If they can avoid that kind of a disastrous start, they're in better shape.
Costco hot dogs are the best. Agree.
See, I like the ones from 7-Eleven. I guess I'm just weird that way, but I do like the ones from 7-Eleven. It might be because I work there, so I know. The one thing about working there is you can tell when the hot dog buns are old, and I feel like going into the store and going, "Do you guys not change these around?" But yeah, no.
Yuck, that's really gross. No, I like the Costco poutine though; it's not bad. But other than that,
who do you like better? Do you like THG or TEG better?
It depends on the day.
Because I understand he's trying to put together the other set so you guys can have a live stream together. He's even got me tickets to a baseball game. There isn't even a baseball team in Abbotsford.
Where are
He
you doing?
he hand wrote them and then said I owed him $20. So you tell me.
Maple says that Azrael doesn't fight fair. True.
She
Azrael
doesn't.
likes to wait till
She-
Maple's asleep.
Like this.
There's Maple.
So she
yeah,
stays
there's
in here and
Maple.
sleeps.
You can see
And then
that
her
shadow.
sister-
There's shadows down there.
Her sister will just come in and just
Yeah,
attack her.
Azrael likes to wait till Maple's asleep and licks her and then bites her neck. So they're really nice like that. They're loving siblings.
She really, and she loves me to death. It's just she can't not attack the jerseys.
How much longer do you think it is until the Ducks are competitive?
Well, we'll see. Did you look at the ticket stubs I sent you or the
Nope.
emails?
I did not.
So I found 2 Canuck games that are on light nights. I found one that is a 3-game night in the NHL and one that's the only game on. So I got us tickets for the LA Kings against the Canucks,
Okay.
which is in November. And then I got us tickets to an Anaheim Ducks game against the Canucks in March.
Okay.
So that's it. Outside of that, everything else was either really bloody expensive because there's a game between Vancouver and Calgary where it's only 3 games that night, but the tickets start at like $180. And I'm like, no. So I'll get a good look. But I think for the Ducks, I think this year is going to be another year outside the playoffs. And then starting probably next year, we'll see some advancement towards a playoff spot.
How much longer do you think it is until the Ducks are competitive?
You already asked me that.
I did, didn't I?
Yep.
How do you feel about the Canucks being the worst franchise in hockey history?
I wouldn't say that they were hockey history. You'd have to look at teams that didn't last more than 2 years, like Cleveland Cleveland's up there. They just ceased to be. Kansas City, the Golden Seals were really, really bad. The New York Americans were okay, though. I need to do another video on the New York Americans. The way that they got taken out of the NHL was unfair.
How do you see the Knights' situation in the net, playing out with Thompson, Brossoit, and now Aiden Hill?
Thompson doesn't have to clear waivers to go down. So in the event that they have all 3 of them healthy, they could send Thompson down to the minors and then trade one or the other of the 2 goaltenders. It's not a bad situation to be in. Aiden Hill was clearly the number 3 guy in San Jose. Brossoit's not starting the season healthy in all likelihood, so we'll see how it turns out.
Rank the best players between lockouts, 94 and 04.
The best players between lockouts. I mean, I could do a video on that. That'll be post Gretzky's best years. And Lemieux, of course, he had like a retirement and injury and all that other fun stuff with Lemieux. Lindros would be pretty high on that list if I ranked during those decades or during that decade. I think Lindros would be pretty high on that list.
Is Calgary better, the same, or worse?
I would say roughly the same if they can make up for the loss of production from within. So if a rookie can come in and produce, if like Pelche comes in and produces, great. But they need somebody who can come in and give that production, or just continue to be stingy defensively, right? They can buy into Daryl Sutter's system. I think they should be about the same. They're going to miss Tkachuk, no doubt, but Huberdeau should offset the loss of Gaudreau. Should.
I'm drinking an iced spiced tea.
And I have a Diet Coke. Hey, Bear.
Somebody always asks what tea I'm drinking.
That's enough.
That's
enough.
It's really good. It's one of those teas that I get it from David's Tea, and I think they intend it to be a hot tea, but it's way better iced. So
Bear's got this weird thing with Pixel right now, where her and Pixel are fighting each other a lot.
They're grumpy old ladies.
They really are.
They are the grumpy old ladies.
Bear.
Who will be traded first, Kane or Taves?
Kane has more value. If they decide to move both of those guys, Kane would be the easier one to move. So my bet would be on him being out first.
How do you see Sergachev doing this season with his bigger role?
He should have, I would say 55, 60 points is realistic. Come here.
It's not.
Knock it off.
She's taken the high ground.
There you go. Lay down up there. Go to sleep. And no, you lay down right there. You stop it, young lady. You lay down. Come on. Don't you look at me like that.
But I had the high ground.
Because you look at me like that. You're not attacking Pixel. Anyways.
Prediction for
I do
where
own a Chargers
Subban
jersey.
ends up.
It'll be a tryout. It'll be a lower cost contract. So look for a team that's a contender that could use a number 6 guy on the blue line. Who knows? Maybe the Avs bring him in on a tryout. The Wild make room. Maybe if the Wild want a little extra in terms of potential, maybe they bring him in. So we'll see. It should be an interesting year for them.
Love the channel. Thoughts on
Thank you.
Fiala, Kopitar, Kempe, top line in LA.
If Fiala has natural chemistry with those guys, it is going to be a ridiculously good line. Fiala's coming off of one of the best seasons he's had. Fiala's been a player that I've been a fan of for a long time. And so I'll be interested to see how it works with the LA Kings, a team that plays a little more reserved offensively than the Wild have, especially since he wouldn't have Kaprizov. Like, he wasn't on Kaprizov's line, but, he didn't face the same level of defense because, of course, if you're against the Wild, you're more worried about the other line than about Fiala's. It'll be interesting to see if he's on the primary line and what happens with his production.
I'm wearing one of my all-time favorite jerseys.
Mine too. This is my favorite.
Too.
This is my absolute number one favorite. And I'm looking forward to going and seeing the Kings and not being able to wear this jersey for that game. Because then people think I was cheering for the Kings.
That's a replacement for the first jersey you had me look at when we started dating.
And I was hoping for us to be able to go and see a Dallas game, but there's like 9 or 10 games on that night, so it just doesn't work.
Goodness.
Yeah.
What team do you see improving the most?
If Cam Talbot plays the way that I know he can, Ottawa's going to surprise some people. But Detroit, I wouldn't rule out either as maybe taking that big next step. And then out west, I don't see any reason why the Jets can't bounce back. We'll see what happens this year, but the Jets would probably be my pick in the West.
That'd be great. Speaking of 94 to 04, peak Peter Forsberg. GOAT! I was supposed to yell that, I think, because it was all capital.
Well, greatest of all time, because it's short form.
Oh, is it? I had no idea.
Do I need to get the board?
Thanks for explaining that to me, Shannon.
Yeah, I'll get the board.
I'm really glad you're here to explain things to me. Otherwise, I would have no idea because I'm just a dumb girl. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyways, moving on. Shannon.
Yes.
Okay. Talk about Bruins, please. Thank you both for everything.
So the Bruins, I have a feeling that the Bruins are going to fall back a bit this year. I don't know how much. It's all going to depend on how this season works out. Without Marchand and McAvoy to start the season. So even if reports are that they're going to be ahead of schedule, I always kind of, I don't know, when I hear a player's ahead of schedule, all I think is, so he's probably going to come back and play when he's less than 100%. So I'm not expecting him to be 100% out of the gate. And so, we'll see. But without McAvoy, that hurts. And they already have a blue line that I feel like is kind of thin, especially in the East with how tough the East is. Hopefully, Krejci can return to being the Krejci he was before going to Europe. But again, at age 36, we're going to find out. And Bergeron's 37. Some of that core, it feels like for Boston, Pittsburgh, and Washington, one of them is due to fall back.
Do you own any jerseys from other major? You can just knock it off, or I'm going to smack you over the head with that. Sports.
I do
have sports.
I have a bunch of baseball jerseys. I do have, because I thought at one point we might not get hockey and we might have baseball instead. So I might have to pivot and report on baseball.
That'd be awful.
I was ready for it though. I had about half the league in jerseys. It was all set, and I've watched baseball and I know baseball well enough that I could report on it. But although I don't know that I'd want like a center ice package style with baseball where I have to watch everything. Oh my gosh. But because it's all day, every day. But and I've got a bunch of football jerseys. I've got a whole bunch of Chargers.
I'd rather sleep than watch baseball.
You can do both.
Baseball.
You can do both. You can sleep while you watch baseball. My grandfather did it for years. And then you go to change the channel. Like, I was watching that. No, you weren't. You weren't watching that, Grandpa, but okay.
Calico is absolutely beautiful. She seems sweet. Just wanted to say that.
She's a very nice cat. It's been tough because these cats are climbers. And when you have cats that are climbers, they usually climb curtains. We don't have curtains. We have jerseys. So that's what they try to climb. And of course,
like curtains, but expensive.
They snag everything, and I have jerseys I can't replace. So this caging is going to stay up until they grow out of this. I also got rid of the rack that was on this side of the room. I'm going to try to eliminate the rack that's in that corner as well. Really open things up, which I know has made the echo show up, but I've got a partition as well. But yeah, she's a very sweet cat. They're both nice kitties. They're climbers.
Well, the Calico would be bear.
Oh, I thought, never mind.
Maple would be a tortie. So when they said Calico, they are referring to this
cat. I'm used to people talking about the new cats. Hi, Bear.
I just had to explain it to him so that he would know. I had to impart my knowledge on Shannon. How many cats do we have? Too many. We have 5.
Kitty. And 4 of them are in here right now. Pixel's down here. Shadow, Maple.
Oh, we're just missing Azrael. She's
sleeping on her bed.
Oh, she's asleep. There you go.
Yeah, she's resting up.
Get off the board. I could. There you go.
Grab the board.
Hope you're having a great day. Not too bad.
Not bad. It's the end of August, so September starts tomorrow, so that means school time.
Of course we like dogs. But
who doesn't like dogs?
We have 5 cats. And we have 6 rabbits. And we have 3 children. So there's not room for a dog or time for a dog. No, that wouldn't. We love dogs, but we couldn't do a dog. We don't have time, and we have cats, and we have a child that wouldn't work well with a dog.
So. Right.
Question for Yvonne: does Shannon watching hockey all the time drive you crazy? Nope. I don't watch it with them.
No, sometimes she can't watch it with me. She can't handle it.
I don't like watching hockey with Shannon unless he's sticking to one game, which is very, very rare.
Well, you're in luck. We'll be at that one game against LA.
If it's a game that I want to watch, I usually watch it not with Shannon.
These are our 4 cats. These are the breeds, if you want to call it that. Shadow technically is chocolate. I know he's a black cat, but when you look at him in the sun, he's actually brown with black stripes. It is the coolest thing that I discovered when he was an adult, actually. I was like, holy crap, he's a brown cat.
Let's see. How much do you think the Blues will miss Perron?
I think they'll miss him on and off the ice. Perron is a really good player, glue guy as well. That being said, you've got a lot of good young players in St. Louis. Somebody's going to jump in and take that production. There's a top 6 role there to be had. I think St. Louis will be okay. They seem to absorb losses quite well.
Looking back, are you glad you decided to do YouTube full time?
Yeah.
This is where he looks back and he thinks, my wife was right. She's so amazing.
That's not how I remember it. How would I react if Hawaii got an NHL team? That'd be tough travel.
That doesn't make sense.
That'd be tough travel. Yeah. And then I don't know how you'd have. I don't know how you'd get that building full every night.
Are you still going to recap the 2022 Metro Division draft picks?
Well, see, we're into September tomorrow, and there's the whole law of diminishing returns. I really expected to be able to get all the divisions done, and then I got sick. I got sick before we went to Vegas, and that knocked off my schedule a lot. So it prevented me from getting all the divisions done when I intended to. And we're at a point too where we're already getting into training camp. There's reports on all these players everywhere. I kind of feel like if I was going through the Metro Division picks, it at this point I feel like it's I just don't know that it would work.
September is tomorrow. I know. It's almost time for school to start too. School's next week.
Tuesday.
How crazy is that? School starts next week.
Pixel. See, you can always reach down and grab a cat in this house.
She's picking you up. Oh my goodness, poor baby. She does not agree.
Stop with the stink eye. Stop with the stink eye.
How dare you touch her?
Remember, she hates me picking her up. So me picking her up, you should be happy about that.
Where does Alex Galchenyuk go?
The way that he was playing in Arizona last year, I don't know that he gets a contract this year. He might get a tryout. I would not be entirely surprised if he was out because he is 28 years of age. And so I think if he was going to have a bounce back, that would have happened last year with Arizona, where he would have had that opportunity.
Why do Philly fans want the head of Chuck Fletcher?
Well, it's just everything that they do that would help with PR, they do the opposite. So everything that would make fans happy, they seem to do the opposite. Everybody the fans seem to like, they get rid of. If it's a player that the fans don't want on the team, they go out and sign him. And they also don't seem to. So the fans understand that the Flyers are in deep trouble and they've got major problems, but it feels like Chuck Fletcher is viewing it as, you know what, we had an off year and we can bounce back. And so there's that disconnect there. So fans are I pretty ticked off in general.
Do you have all the reverse retro jerseys?
I have all the reverse retro jerseys from 2 years ago. It was not easy getting all 31. There were a few that I had to get creative in order to purchase, but I did end up getting all of them.
Oh, America likes August school. Canada does not, because that's a part of our very short summer.
Oh, I wouldn't have been able to handle that going back to school in August.
Yeah, our warm weather is July through August, and that's about it. And even our weather this year, it looks like Sunday is our last hot day. And then it just gets colder.
Yeah, I'll be able to take out the air conditioner next week.
If kids started school in August, we'd miss our warm weather.
Yeah.
That'd be sad not having school in June. June is cold still.
Yep.
Like I never went camping in June because it's still too cold because I'm a wimp. So yeah, pass. Do you like Dollarama?
We have a lot of them.
There's so many in Abbotsford.
We have a lot of them. I used to like Dollarama for my magnet sheets, and they stopped getting them. I think it's cost, because the cost of them has gone up on Amazon too.
It really, yeah, Dollarama really depends. I don't like.
And then I used to get chocolate bars there too.
Yeah,
because chocolate bars were 2 for $1.
But now I usually get them at London Drug.
Yep.
Sometimes they get them at Dollar Tree, not Dollarama. I don't.
Oh, those two stores hate each other. Don't mix them up.
Nah.
You don't want to be on the wrong side of that battle.
I usually get chocolate bars at London Drug. They're cheaper.
Yeah, you do. Look at you.
To work. Because at London Drug, they're 88 cents when they're on sale.
That's right. Nice job.
Okay, Shannon. Do you think the Canes will switch to the flag logo full time, with the black jersey being the new primary?
I do think something's coming, because Tom Dundon has been pretty clear that he's not a fan of the jersey, so he changed the away jersey first. I do think we're going to see that storm flag used as the primary on the jersey, though the regular Hurricanes logo would probably still remain as the logo used in all of their promotional materials.
Thoughts on the Pens re-signing Mike Sullivan? In my opinion, with him already being the winningest and longest tenured head coach in franchise history, no new head coach in Pittsburgh will pass him.
It's kind of a no-brainer. They're a good team. I think they overachieve a little bit, considering the major injuries they're always going through. I think it's a good move.
Favorite new reverse retro?
Well, we haven't technically seen them yet.
First.
I have a funny feeling that the Canucks will end up near the top for me personally. If the Bruins do the Pooh Bear right, that could look really sharp. But my guess is that Calgary with that podium, that's probably going to be my favorite.
Is inflation hitting hard in Canada? Yeah, that's a global thing.
Isn't it higher in Canada than it is in the U.S.?
No, because now Canadians are going down to the States because the groceries doesn't save us anything. Even after the exchange rate, it ends up being the same price.
Right. So I opened a pack
their inflation's pretty big if their groceries.
I opened a pack of O-Pee-Chee, the last year's. I got Taylor Hall as the throwback one that I got. I got a blue border Casey Cizikas. So yeah, hold yourselves back, guys. Zuccarello, Hellebuck, Bluger, Obe Kubel, Doughty. There's another Cizikas. See, only difference is the blue border. Igor Shesterkin, and Zdeno Chara. Not bad.
My clients, the cats, would like to talk about this fence thing in front of the jerseys.
The adult cats don't seem to mind. One thing is, I haven't been bringing the rabbits down because there's no way. The rabbits love going underneath the jerseys. They love being under there. They would be grabbing that with their teeth and rattling it constantly. Depending on which bunny I bring down here, there'd be a lot of teeth rattling. Cinnabon, absolutely, because she does it upstairs.
Even when she can go around it, she still chews on it.
It's like, the prisoner you see on TV that gets the tin cup and they just back and forth across the bars in the prison cell. That's her. You would think even though she can get out half the time, she still goes over and tries to chew the bars on the fencing because she wants that out of there.
Love the Joe Mullen and Tom Barrasso videos. When is Alexei Kovalev's turn? Love the content.
I'm overdue for a Kovalev video. Hopefully I get that done before too long here. I was going to do a career video today. I didn't get one done. So what I'll do, I'll write it down. Alexei Kovalev, who scored some points in his time and played for a long time in the NHL.
No, Canada is the lowest of the G7. I'm going to guess that's inflation. I know our inflation isn't as bad as it is in the States.
It's not great.
There's inflation everywhere.
Inflation's been bad.
Yeah.
Anytime we shop now, it's like, wow, that price has gone way up in the last couple of years.
Do you have more Canadian or American viewers?
The last month, it's been more Canadian than American because it's the off season. Because free agency's done. When I'm posting videos during the summer, it seems like there's more Canadians that are wanting to watch hockey content than Americans, but it's close. And then during the regular season, it tends to actually be more American viewers, which makes sense when you think about how many American teams there are compared to Canadian teams.
How did we meet?
It's online. She put up a personal ad on Costco.
On Costco?
Yeah, Costco has this thing.
Personal ad on Costco.
Well, see, with every 10 hot dogs you buy, you're allowed to put up a free personal ad. That's how I was able to do it.
Eat hot dogs.
No, Gabriel ate them, and you paid for them. So
of our three kids, Gabriel is the one that doesn't eat hot dogs.
I didn't say you bought them for him because you liked them. So that's kind of how we met. And then, although she's told Adelaide it was at Walmart, Superstore.
Right. For a while, Adelaide thought I picked him up at Superstore. She totally believed it. And she used to tell people, I found him at Superstore and I brought him home.
No, it was online dating, and it was a matter of both of us had given up. So that's the best way to date, is just give up.
It's true.
just give up and expect nothing. And keep your walls up, and then all of a sudden, oh, cool. All right, I guess this is
you're
happening.
not horrible.
That's what she pput in our wedding vows. That I'm not horrible.
But Shannon deleted the video, so you guys will never know.
I took out all live streams when that strike,
our wedding.
When that strike happened, I took out all live streams. And I've talked about us renewing our vows. We can do a live stream renewing our vows in the city of Las Vegas, or we can renew our vows here and then renew our vows in Las Vegas. Whatever you would like, my lady, and we can live stream that to your heart's content. You can wear a different wedding dress each time.
Was it love at first sight?
No.
You answered that so quick.
It wasn't. It wasn't for both of us.
No, it really wasn't.
Both of us went into it with the idea of, okay, so we're just going to chat. And we kind of left it at that for a while. Okay. Because of the online chatting.
Not quite love at first sight, but by the end of the date, before the end of the date, we knew we were good.
The date was after like a year of talking to each other.
That's not true. We talked for about 2 months before we actually met.
Ovechkin dropping off anytime soon. I wouldn't bet on it. I'd say he's got another 2 years of 50 goals. I would not be surprised to see it. I still think he catches Gretzky. I don't think it's going to take him that long.
Thoughts about the Tage Thompson contract extension, Skinner 2.0, or great deal before the cap increase?
The cap increase should ensure that it's not too much of a problem, but they're really betting on a guy after one really good year. And so if he shows any signs of, coming back to earth this year, like even if he's just a 20 goal scorer this year, That'd be troubling at that cap hit for following seasons. But the cap will go up in a couple years, and that should help them out tremendously.
If you had to guess, how long till we see reverse retro jerseys?
I am shocked we don't have them already. I am, especially when the leaks started taking place, where we're seeing guys leaking out, hey, I got this. This is what the Canucks one looks like. This is what the New Jersey one looks like. Once those leaks happen, you would think Adidas and the NHL would say, let's just get ahead of it. Let's just put together a ceremony of this, and we'll just put a video out of all the reverse retros. I am really surprised that tomorrow's September 1st, and we don't already have them, since they're supposed to be for sale in September as well. So I find it really surprising.
Well, you root for Canada in the World Cup.
Of course. I'm looking forward to it. It is too bad that it's during hockey season because it's too hot in Qatar to play soccer. But
True.
I don't.
It's too hot in Qatar to do anything.
That one still it makes me scratch my head on that one. Like, good job, FIFA. But I will watch what I can when I can, and I'm really rooting for Canada. Obviously, I think they've got a good chance of winning a game. If they win a game, they're ahead of the last time Canada made the World Cup, and we'll see how it goes.
Any chance you guys make a trip to Dallas this year? Nope.
Yeah, this coming year,
we already have our trips
kind of plotted out,
all planned out.
It's like today I bought tickets to 2 Canucks games, and I'm like, and that's it. That's what we're doing for hockey tickets. So, and of course, because we're season ticket holders with Abbotsford, so it doesn't make any sense to drive all the way to Vancouver if we have a light night in the NHL and we have a game here. I'll just go to the game here.
Was that the TV's reflection? Yeah, so you can see the TV's reflection in the the play button. And you can see it in the Batman picture.
Can you make out what it is?
I certainly can't. I can't tell at all.
No.
Where did we go on our first date? A concert.
Yeah.
Best first date ever. That was great.
It was fun.
It was great.
It was all right.
It was great.
I mean,
that was a great first date.
The one drawback was you dropped me off late. I missed work. Because he dropped me off late.
That's not true.
So
he's full of crap. That's not true. He was on holiday for a week. That was a week holiday.
I thought I was on holiday.
He was on holiday, which since he decided that he did actually like me after our first date, because he wasn't quite sure.
It's not that I wasn't sure. It was that I didn't trust myself.
He wasn't sure that he wanted a girlfriend.
Yeah, it didn't matter who.
But then after we had a date, then he decided, oh, okay, I think I'll keep her around. And then we went on a date every single day of the rest of his holiday. So Somebody asked who initiated the second date. It was kind of just agreed upon. We really did. The first date, we knew that we were really good together and we wanted to be together. And so we were.
My favorite soccer player of all time, Bob Lenarduzzi, because I'm old. Will Aiden Hill add much to the Vegas Golden Knights? He's a good goaltender. He's not going to be a top 10 goalie in the league, but he's good. It seems like NHL GM can't win. They either pay a player for what they did, which they don't repeat, or they pay a player for what they will become. Player never reaches expectations, and that's the dangers of any of these contracts. Really, that's why personally I think 4-year contracts are perfect. I think 4 years is a perfect term, but in this day and age, the players want 8 years. The team wants that amount of control, and so there we are.
Were you guys Abbotsford Flames fans?
That'd be Abbotsford Heat.
You mean the Heat? When they were here, or does having the Canucks farm team make all the difference to your interest? I used to go to Heat games.
A friend of mine was a season ticket holder for the Heat. I never got to a game with them. I was willing to go. I do think it's made a huge difference locally that it's now the Canucks farm team. It seems like there's a lot of energy in that crowd that likely is related to that. And it is fun to see guys playing in Abbotsford and then watch a Vancouver Canucks game and see them playing for Vancouver. It is really fun to see that and see how well some of them play and how some of them you look at in person, you're like, I don't know. And then you see them in the NHL and you're like, yeah, I don't know what's right.
It is fun having the Abbotsford farm team. The kids really like going too. Does Shannon talk hockey all day, every day off camera?
Nope.
No. He talks to you guys on camera about hockey, so then he doesn't have to talk about it all the time. He does talk to me about hockey a lot. But no, not all day, every day.
No.
But he definitely talks to me about hockey. Did you see the Red Wings prospect roster? Has a guy named Ivan.
Yvonne.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard
who
all
played
about
well
it.
for the Czech team. Honestly, he's got some skill, and I would love to see him get a shot at the roster. And Yzerman, I don't think will hold him back at all. I think he's 1 year past draft, so I'm pretty sure he wasn't drafted this year. I'm pretty sure it was the year before. Who knows? Maybe he gets that cup of coffee with the Detroit Red Wings. I just think the name Yvonne is great. I'll get her jersey as soon as possible.
Hey there, husband of Yvonne and Yvonne. There you go. See, it's about time somebody refers to you. Okay. Hope you're well. Shannon, did you happen to see those reverse retro t-shirt leaks? And I'm absolutely thrilled to see the black and red come back in Buffalo.
I did, and that's how I did the
fun.
video today on what we know of the reverse retro, what's coming. I did a whole video on that, and the leaks are a part of that, plus a lot of speculation of what they're going to look like. You're going to get a goat head both on a blue and gold jersey and on the red and black. The goat head has been changed a little bit, but it's still going to be awesome.
Tiny bit.
It's going to be great having that back.
Shannon, thank you for all the coverage you provide. You are the best. Agreed. The sport of hockey is lucky to have you. Agreed. He's pretty awesome.
She's biased.
Hey, Vaughn, how does it feel to have hooked up with such a hunk? And Money Boat? Okay, Money Boat, I don't know about that. He's definitely a hunk,
Money
though.
Plane.
I mean, look at this piece
that
of
reminds me, we did watch the movie
nice.
Money Plane. Got Kelsey Grammer in it. It's Money Plane.
When we met, we were both really, really, really poor.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was
really.
She got in at the right time. I had no money. That was.
It was a bit challenging in the beginning.
So I got my first.
We had 4 kids.
I got my first pay from YouTube right after we met each other.
Yeah.
$100.
Yeah.
And I was excited because that was $100 I made not being at my normal job.
But in the beginning, we were really poor, and we had 4 kids and a really tiny house. Because that's when he was doing videos either in our bedroom or in the living room. And the living room was also our homeschool area.
My coworkers.
That was a tiny house.
My coworkers at the time were like, "You're making a big deal over making $100 in a month." And I said, "Yeah, because I wasn't here dealing with you guys. So this is great." And the channel really didn't take off until the following July was when it finally started to take off. And then we really started thinking about, hey, I could make a living doing this maybe. Between September and July, it was growing, but not that much.
Well, I have a spiced iced tea right now. It's really good. I haven't made it for a while, so it's delicious. Will you buy NHL 23?
I'm not planning on it. I wouldn't have got NHL 22, except that in December, it looked like the NHL might shut down, and we didn't know how long it would shut down. So I got NHL 22 just in case, so I could do like a franchise thing. But yeah, I didn't end up needing it, and I never played it. So if I never played last year's game, I don't see why I would play this year's.
No, Shannon doesn't have 4 step kids. He has 3 step kids in our house. And then he has
my biological son.
Yes. And so for a while we had all 4 kids, but his son is older and has moved out a few years ago. What was your old job?
I worked at a meat plant. I worked on an assembly line for about 8 years or 7 years. And then I worked in shipping in that same place for, I want to say 2 or 3 years I was in shipping. It was almost 10 years before I left. Everything I've heard since I've left has told me I made the right call in leaving. I made the right call leaving, and I'm glad I got out.
Spiced iced tea to me has whiskey in it. That would be so gross.
Well, if you have the right mix, you won't taste the whiskey.
Like I've
had mixed drinks where you can't taste the whiskey.
But with tea, I don't think you could do it with tea.
Tea probably would not.
And I really don't like whiskey.
Yeah, tea wouldn't mask it.
Blech. How does Shannon avoid the copyright issues with the jerseys, logos, thumbnails, etc.? The jerseys aren't copyright.
I've never seen
the
anything
logos
copyright
aren't
related
copyright.
for
And
that.
he doesn't use copyright pictures. That's why we don't ever show clips of the game.
I don't use clips from the game.
We are very careful.
I actually at one point when we did have the copyright issue, I did talk to somebody from the NHL, and yeah, we're good. I mean, you can wear jerseys and videos and not get flagged. A lot of the time that you see logos blurred out, whether it's in a music video or in a TV show, they don't want to give them free advertising.
Right.
So that's a free advertising, that's product placement. We're not going to do that. So they'll blur it out. It's the same reason why you're watching a TV show and they show a sign for a plaza, they blur out everything except the store or the restaurant they're talking about. I've never had a problem with it. And I know there's other YouTubers haven't had an issue with it either. Obviously, Steve Dangle, when he was coming up, he was wearing Leaf stuff and talking about the Leafs all the time. To my knowledge, he never had a problem with that either. And now he works for Sportsnet wearing Leafs gear all the time still in his videos.
Was the meat plant unionized? I hear meat plants are insanely brutal.
Yeah, it was union. But here's the thing. It's agricultural. So that means that if they tell you have to work overtime, there's nothing you can do. If they come over to you and they say, by the way, you need to work this weekend, so you're going to work 12 days in a row, there is nothing that you can do to fight it because it's agricultural. It's product that spoils. So we used to have times where they'd be like, oh, we've got a bunch of stuff back here that's spoiling in a week, so we have to process it immediately and have a big sale. And everybody'd end up working overtime and working on their days off. And it is brutal. It is. I know that they're down to there's some emergency thing now that they're doing to find workers, where they're bringing in temporary workers, like not the foreign temporary workers, but like having to bring in people as like an emergency thing, where they're not actually hired. They're being brought in.
Like temp.
Yeah. And because it's that bad, and I'm glad I'm not there.
My mom had a bunch of jobs like that.
Yeah, it's just it is hard. It is a hard job.
Thank you for the videos to get through summer. Maybe Dave Andreychuk career video and his cup of tea in Boston.
I don't. I would have thought I would have done a Dave Andreychuk video. Right. Oh, write that one down too. Right under Kovalev. Okay. I would have thought I would have had Dave Andreychuk already.
What do you think Dylan Larkin will get for his extension? I think he will get 7 years, 8.5.
I would say an $8 million a year contract is fair for Larkin. The Larkin I like. He's not been quite a point per game. I think he's got the potential to get there. So yeah, I mean that would make some sense to keep it around the 8 million mark. He of course is a leader. There's more to it than just the points, but players usually get paid by points and goals, as much as Dallas's owner might not like it.
Yvonne, you don't have your job at the hospital anymore. I've never had a job at the hospital. I've been at the hospital a lot.
You've been at the hospital enough that you could probably work there relatively well.
Recently, because I was really, really sick forever, and then I had a gajillion surgeries.
It's okay. I know where that is. I'll go get it.
But I've never worked in medical. I used to work in financial security, and before that, I was a teacher. And many years before that, I worked at McDonald's for quite a few years. Yeah. Have you had tea and oranges all the way from China? Yes, we have an awesome Chinatown in Vancouver.
Get mandarins from China, don't we?
Yeah, it's kind of
the mandarin oranges
a little
are
bit
fantastic.
sad right now, but I grew up always going to Chinatown, and we would get the big bags of oolong tea.
Financially, Chinatown's been decimated over the last few years.
Yeah, they're trying to do some stuff.
So hopefully they can bring it back, because Chinatown used to be like one of the main selling points of Vancouver.
Oh, Yvonne made some PPE for the hospital. Oh, is that what you're talking about? Yes, I made, was it 800 surgical caps for the Abbotsford hospital, and then a hospital in Surrey, and then there was a hospital. Yes, Mission Hospital,
and then Chilliwack too.
Yeah, little bit, not very many Chilliwack, and then too. Yeah, there was some that I mailed to Alberta as well, but. No, I have not been asked to do any surgical caps for a while.
Because everybody's quit.
Everybody has caps too. No. Yeah, that was a lot. I made a lot.
Yeah, it was pretty hectic.
Caps. There's so many, and it's a good thing I had some fabric, and I had a lot of fabric donated And I even had some subscribers that either sent fabric or they sent money for me to buy fabric. So I was able to make hundreds of the surgical fabric.
Who's similar to Patrick Kane other than Stu or Cooch? I think that. See, I want to say from a passing perspective, Robert Thomas is up there, but I mean, with Kane, you have a lot of the other intangibles there. He's a pretty unique player. Pretty hard to find somebody who plays exactly like him, but I want to say Thomas just for the passing ability. And if Thomas, grows into a leadership role, we'll see if that happens with St. Louis. It should, considering the contract they signed him to. They believe in him.
Shannon does have a good memory. He has
Did I
ridiculous
look at the
memory.
new NHL 23 franchise mode? Do I think now put your own league? What league would you put? I would create a ridiculous amount of players. I still have books from when I was creating players before I ever played a video game with that. So I would create a ridiculous amount of players, but it takes a long time. The last time that I went into an NHL game and I put players of mine in it took weeks. That was way before I had a channel, and it took weeks. It was the most fun I ever had in any kind of franchise mode, be a GM, whatever you want to call it, ever. But it took a long time, and it was because I go over every single stat and go, well, he should have more of this. I'll drag that down, this up a little bit. I get into the minutia of it.
Will the Bruins need to tear down and rebuild soon?
They could as soon as this coming off season, as in this year. If they don't make the playoffs, they may have to tear it down next summer because you do have an aging roster. There aren't a lot of really top-notch prospects in Boston's system. They've been trading draft picks and prospects for years now. They may need a rebuild.
Have you read Dan Russell's book?
No, I have not. I'm still buying hockey books. I found an old hockey book that I had when I was a little kid. Jim Proudfoot. I used to get the Jim Proudfoot books every year. This was before the NHL hockey yearbooks that I was getting or anything. I used to get the Jim Proudfoot one every year. And I found some of them on eBay, but because most of them ship out of the States, the shipping is insane. And so that's my drawback. I really need to find those books though.
Do you follow other Canadian sports like lacrosse or curling?
I watch curling.
I love curling.
I enjoy curling. Right now I got US Open tennis on. I don't mind some tennis either. And there are some good Canadians that play tennis right now, both on the men's and women's side. But yeah, I do enjoy watching sports in general, just as a general rule. I don't watch the CFL. The time of year that it's on is probably a factor. And then I prefer the NFL. I much prefer the NFL, even though I know I'm Canadian. I should prefer the CFL, but I haven't.
Did Shannon play ice hockey as a kid?
My family couldn't afford it. So while I learned to skate, and I found out as I was learning to skate that if you're carrying a hockey stick, it's a heck of a lot easier to balance yourself. First time I skated around with a hockey stick, I'm like, this is great. I wonder if hockey sticks were just invented for balance. And they're like, we might as well smack something with this. But yeah, I could skate. I would go to the local skating, but of course that was $2. You give $2 and you go out for a skate for 2 hours. Signing up for hockey is expensive. My family didn't have the money. So yeah, I mean, I could do a little bit of stick and puck, as they call it, when they have it at the local rinks. I could do that. But yeah, the actual organized hockey, my family just didn't have the money. And then my father would have been kind of unreliable for getting me to early practices and getting me to and from stuff. And it wouldn't have worked
out. If you want to do another goalie, J.S. Greer.
Shiger.
There you go.
See, and that's another one I thought I had done I haven't done a video on him either. His is interesting because he won the Conn Smythe Trophy in a year that his team lost the Stanley Cup final. One of those rare occasions.
Why do you hate the Sharks so much?
Well, see,
yeah, Shannon.
My biggest problem is that sharks are jerks. Sharks are kind of the jerks of the ocean. And they let me off every time I'm down on the beach. They're just jerks. I had
sharks
one
when you're on the beach.
Yeah,
we don't have sharks here.
I had one steal my wallet when I was a kid, and so like I've had a problem with sharks for a long time, and so anytime that I'm around a shark, it's usually me saying don't start, And then, like when we're at the aquarium and the sharks come over and start laughing at me because they remember, right? They all talk to each other. And so, yeah.
The crows.
As for the team, I don't hate the Sharks. I did. There was a time, but I don't. There's too many players on the San Jose Sharks I like now. And so, dagnabbit, watching as many games as I do, it really makes me unable to hate teams anymore. Or even individual players sometimes, where I'll really hate a player and then, where you really get into hockey and you're watching everything like, oh, he went to the children's hospital. Oh, and he brought the kid back with him to the game. Oh, and he took him out on the ice for the pregame warmup. I can't hate this guy. So yeah, it's just it ruins it when you pay attention.
Yeah. Where do you see Toronto ending the season?
Probably in Toronto. I don't think they're moving. No, I think for Toronto, I think they're going to finish top 3 in their division. I think it's going to be just a dogfight between Florida, Tampa, and Toronto. Really, the question becomes one of when did they win a round? And that is the one question. Regardless of where they finish, they can win the division. They could win the division by 20 points. And all we're going to hear is, yeah, but wait till the playoffs. So that's what they have to do is win come playoff time. And I don't know that it matters where they finish. As long as they make the playoffs, they have to win a round.
Aren't Canucks similar to Sharks? You mean orcas? Because Canucks is just another word for Canadians.
Well, orcas.
So I don't think the Canadians
I haven't had a problem
are similar
with
to sharks.
I was quite happy when I was a kid. We went to the Vancouver Aquarium, and Skeena, who was the orca at the time, she would spray water, and she sprayed everybody but me. So I thought that was great that I went with my class. My class got drenched, and I stayed dry. I thought that was awesome. So I have no problem with orcas. Probably realized somebody had stolen my wallet, so shouldn't want to spray me. It's like that's the kid that lost his wallet, so I'll leave him alone.
Why do you hate every single team in the NHL?
Because I hate my life.
Because Shannon hates hockey.
It's really
that's why.
It's just
Shannon hates hockey.
This is all a form of masochism. This is all just so I come in every morning and go, players. Oh, it's hockey again. Oh my gosh. When am I going to come in?
Hockey for hours?
When are the elves going to come into my room and change it? Why can't it be something else? Why can't I have like The Office in here and I could have like, videos on Michael Scott? But no, it has to be hockey. Have I done a Marty Turco career video? I don't think I have. I'm saying I don't think I have, and yet I know I have meant to, so.
What is your real job? Real job? Do you see how many videos are up every single day?
Not only the video, but the upload time. So for me to have a job that's not this would be almost impossible because I upload videos from about 9 in the morning our time until maybe 7 at night our time, depending on what's happened in hockey and Shannon what I'm doing during the day.
Works
so
way more than 40 hours.
And then I do the hour on the treadmill every day. So
and it's every day.
Wouldn't have time. I used to when I had the regular full-time job, all of my videos would be uploaded within an hour and a half of one another. And I would do 4 videos a day and I would have it all plotted out. I would plan it out at work, what I was going to talk about, but more quality now, more of a relaxed feeling to videos now because I'm not, fighting a clock really other than my own, which I do kind of force myself to do stuff that I don't always need to. What are you doing?
Sabres, New Jersey, black and red, 8 games are playing.
I saw 12. When they released the schedule for the new third jersey, I saw 12 games because I counted it out, which would be more than, well, no, it's not more than half, but it's more than a quarter of their home games. So not bad.
My stepfather was a Shark. He told me about you.
See? They're just jerks.
It's not a job no more. It's a career. It's still definitely
well, it's been
a job.
6 years. It's been 6 years. So I've been doing this and getting paid for 6 years, which is getting close to the longest that I've worked a job. The meat plant, which was 9 years, was almost 10 years was my longest. And then I spent 7 years at the call center and 7 years at the poultry farm. So
Shadow is a big cat.
Shadow, he is a big kitty.
He's our biggest kitty.
So when he play fights with Azrael, it looks really funny because she is so tiny and she has no fear of him at all. She just walks up and smacks him right in the face. And it's like, all right, I'm picking a fight with the biggest dog in the yard. All right, you go for it. And he just looks at her like, what are you doing? All right. And then he play fights with her.
Which player speaks best with the media? I find 99% to be very cringy.
Do you know?
Those are athletes.
The funny thing is
speakers.
that I look at like guys like JT Miller. Miller will tell you exactly how he feels. And that seems to drive everybody nuts. They're like, did you hear what he said? Yeah, he's speaking his mind. He's actually saying what he thinks. And so people will read into it like, oh, he said this. Yeah, he's just telling you what he thinks. He's telling you how he feels. And then when other players see how he gets treated when he says how he really feels, they're like, well, I'm not going to be doing that. I'll leave that up to him. I know that players have cringy takes on almost everything, but they kind of have to because they understand, especially in certain locations, the Canadian markets, the original six markets, almost anything you say can and will be held against you by public opinion. So they just try not to give you anything that you can turn into a headline and make it sound like you want to get traded or anything else. JT doesn't seem to care. He's fine with it.
What team do you have the most jerseys of?
Vancouver.
So probably Canucks.
This whole
several
area is all Canucks. So that whole
section
portion at that's all Canucks. So yeah, that's Canucks.
Well, because you have repeats, but different player names.
Well, because they keep putting them on sale. So I'm like, well, for that price, how could I not get one? I like Jordy Ben. Sure. Why wouldn't I have a Braden Holtby Canucks jersey? I could use that. So I should bring them all to a meetup at some point. Just everybody can wear Canucks jerseys. You can take a video of us all playing and just confuse everybody on the internet. Who's on what team? Well, it's the Canucks.
There would be so many, but which one's Shannon? Which one's THG? But people frequently guess the wrong person.
This is true. Funny. This is true. I did well at the last meetup. And for anybody who's watching, we are going to be able to have a meetup, at least one meetup in September. We'll decide whether or not it's the 10th weekend, I think, or the 17th.
Right.
I think both dates we have open. So I don't like to have meetups within a week of each other because I think that's going to hurt turnout. But we'll be able to have one in September.
Do you think the NHL will have contracts similar to the MLB where both the team or player have options towards the end of their contracts?
I could see option years being added at some point, but that'd have to be in the next CBA, which is, I think, 4 more years out.
Do you follow junior hockey?
I follow it. I keep track of what's going on. I don't have the amount of time necessary to really get into it, watch it, and report on it, but I do follow it.
It came out that Sinclair is going to be selling all the Bally Sports networks. I wonder who is going to buy them.
I don't know. And if Bally's is gone in Vegas, did they change the name then of the Bally networks to something else?
I don't know.
Or is that just the casino that's changed names?
Does everyone want more skill or more violence in the NHL? Should more be done to protect rookies without you get a penalty? Other team will soon
make it even. The NHL's moved towards skill. The violence level has really dropped in the National Hockey League. Really, really has. And I don't see that changing. Skill players are getting drafted. Even the tougher players, like, for instance, the Tanner Jeannot. Jeannot can legit play. He's not just, a thug out there running, skating around the ice trying to start trouble. He's a really good player. So I think we're past the point when it comes to some of the shenanigans, which means that when somebody steps out of line, it's going to stand out more because there's not as many violent incidents as there used to be.
Would you ever work for Sportsnet/TSN/Bally?
It would depend on what they offered, and it would depend on
an American company.
It would depend on how much freedom I would still have with the channel, because that's really, really important to me.
Should 18 or 19-year-olds be allowed to play in the AHL?
I think they'll come up with a way that they can do like exceptional status is a thing where a guy can end up in junior hockey early, where they can commit at 15. I could see there being exceptional status where your team can have one guy who's junior age that can play in the AHL, but limit it to 1 player per team.
Why do you buy jerseys that are stretched out in 2 sizes too big for you?
Yes, Dave. Why would that be? But
that's funny.
Anyways, we should get going. There's other things we got to get doing, and since the kids' bedtime isn't very far off, we got to make sure that they've done the things they have to do before we turn in for the night. And they haven't. I've heard nothing. So if I've heard nothing, that means they're on electronics. Not much is getting done.
It's true.
So there's that. But
Kids are awesome.
So thank you guys for coming out. It's been great. And we will be doing a live stream on the other channel from the other set, maybe this week or sometime soon.
All right.
So stay tuned for that. And thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. As always, we will talk to you guys again soon enough.